Okay, so I don't have a whole lot to talk about today except for the same old, the things that we all need to worry about as parents, as the ones responsible for the continuance of a solid and reputable posterity to the rest of the world, because there is such a thing as that, and there was such a thing as that before. Now it's just a matter of not having the people that are actually available to be willing and able to continue distilling the same character shaping uh, barriers, boundary. I wouldn't say so much barriers as I would boundaries, but everybody needs boundaries. I think one of the biggest problems uh, with with younger people that are trying to form their are developing into adults is that they feel that they can project themselves on other people without realizing that maybe somewhere inside the next person has a little bit more of a reservation, has a little bit more of a civility and cordiality. So that's something that it is supposed to be passed on. It's not. We are basically uh, maybe prone, especially in certain circumstances, to be less of the human being that God made in His image, and a little bit more animalistic. And it's adults' job to ensure that with kids growing, that their innocence is preserved. Unfortunately, is there's people that are in leadership now that think that young people are all stupid, and so they feel they've taken it upon themselves not only to strip away of that self empowerment, that self willpower, that self sense of being and of achievement, accomplishment, all the good things that make you the person that you're going to be for the rest of your life, and the best, goodest, the bestest, the bestest person you're ever going to be. There's people that think that they can strip you of that because they are collecting a government check that they want very much to hold on to. They don't know anything else. All they know how to do is hold on to a government check, and they're going to make sure that they find reasons to hold on to this government check, and they are going to extrapolate whatever it is they have justified in their sick little heads to be your overlord, or to be somebody else's overlord whom they may have come across upon everybody else. And that's all it is they're extrapolating, and they are starting with justifying why they're just really unnecessary. But it's called job security, really, is they have to create some sort of reason why they're important. Nobody really cares. um so the way that I described it, actually, I'm working with someone at the office now that has everything in his head. Like, I don't know how to explain how he goes from one point to the other. He goes from A to Z and skips the rest of the alphabet. So I'm more, I want to understand things mechanically, because I want to know all the different ways things could go wrong and vary. So so that's kind of what I mean when I have Jesus in my head. I do the same thing. I go from A to Z, and I miss all the little steps in between. And Jesus was the same way. That's why Jesus used parables. Jesus doesn't want you to follow a mechanical, logical way of thinking. He wants you to use a different part of you and the way that you function to develop a conclusion. It's not, and I've said this before, logic, psychology is a stick with two ends. It's called justification, is you can make an argument turn whichever way. You can already have a preferred result and force your result of the argument to lean in the direction you want it to. So psychology is inferior to our higher self, to something that I don't want to define because it's not important, number one. It's not psychology, I can say that. And that's all I'm trying to say. And that's okay. So, call it intuition, instinct, etc., etc. So, so this is something that is more important to Jesus because you are now not necessarily living in the realm of your physical surroundings. You have to love someone that you can't see, you can't touch. He was here, he died for you, and that's what you have to believe, and you have to have something that's called faith, and you have to just go on from there. And the truth is that the more that you love Jesus, the more that you learn to love yourself. And the more that you love yourself, then the more that you want other people to love themselves too. And the more that you love yourself and you see that other people don't love themselves, is the more you want to do something to make them love themselves. So you are sort of are forced into this into these circumstances or circumstances where you have to make sure that loving yourself is something that is in unison in with the rest of everybody else. So but he's the only thing that he's the only entity. The body of Christ is an entity. He's something that was formed both in the physical world, because that's what I believe, that's what Catholics believe, is God came and he made himself a living being so that he could share this world with us and teach us, exemplify to us how it is that we need to live in order to reach eternal life. He never said, do this to be a wealthy person. He never said, do this to be in forever, constant bliss, because that's not true. What God wants you to understand is that in this world and in competing forces, competing egos, and even against, God himself, mainly against God himself, because we're all people and we can all basically always pick our battles and know this it's not gonna lead me anywhere. So it's always a inner struggle at the end of the day that is where a lot of the suffering comes, and where a lot of what you have to be working on should be concentrated on, because when you realize that imperfection is there to, it's like climbing a hill versus climbing Mount Everest. So you can, just go up slopes all day and be always, happy, or you can, climb Mount Everest and get there and be like in total euphoria once you get there, but you suffered so much while you were Well, so that's like, that's kind of like a sort of, it's an unrealistic, maybe both realistic or unrealistic, but it's almost like, I don't know if I'm like serving, if I'm doing God a disfavor, because who would want to climb Mount Everest anyway? So, but like seriously, like, getting in good with God is 100% better. It's like he has your back. He watches out for you. He's not gonna, he doesn't want you to need other people. So in one of the most recent Bible readings in my church, the Catholic Church, and I was born into it. I think most people are born into their religion, and I don't I don't demean other people's religion at all. Believe me, the only religions that I think that all sort of um, frown down on a little bit, like shrug them off, is pagans, like the people that don't believe in Christians and Catholics. We have too many similarities for me to like not want to listen to I'm almost like, listening more to like a lost sheep, because my religion teaches me to, to seek the lost sheep. And this is just a lost sheep. It doesn't matter. God is going to find them one day. Um, so, so that is what is important to do, is you have to always be available to what God wants you to be available for him about. And 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 the and the quote, the Bible verse that was recently read was that this is the hardest verse that I've had to explain to my kids, or explain, or like really say, like, look, I'm putting my foot down. This is what Jesus came to do. Jesus said, I came to, don't think that I came to bring peace. And who knows what the context of that was? But I know Jesus, and Jesus knows me. That's why he's my Lord. Um, I did not come to bring the peace, I came to bring the sword. So your actions are what's going to bring you peace. Ultimately, maybe not now, maybe not later, because there's going to be so many things. This, and in other words, at every what we have to remember in this world is to question ourselves, is to second guess ourselves. There is evil in this world. Are we turning evil every day, or am I coming closer to God? Which one am I doing? So you can't just like live your life thinking, oh, well, I was born Catholic. So no, I was born Catholic and I distanced myself from God, and I knew that I was missing something, because God was a part of my childhood, and then God was not a part of my childhood. And in my later um, in my later teens, early 20s, and I yearned for that. Like that's what I wanted. That's what was missing. That was the void. It wasn't. I didn't care about. I'd already formed a good relationship with God, and this is what I'm thankful for my grandparents, because my grandparents are the ones that really were teaching us to us kids in my generation, the ones that want to learn, not so much the incorrigibles that are probably Democrats. Heh, no, seriously. I mean, you guys have serious problems, okay? Um, they're the ones that are teaching, and this is what I want early voters to, early, the young voters that want to get involved, is don't go with glamorous the glamorous leaders. They're already like too much a part of um whatever, like the cronyism, like the way things have to go. Like in San Francisco, they're so like they're an insult to Catholicism. Even our president now, they are trying to suppress even the Catholic Church because they want Joe Biden and Nancy Pelosi to reflect to on their conscience. Like, do you still have a conscience? And why do they think that they're so important to the carrying forward of a superior government? That is just, I mean, to me, they don't get out much. They don't know a lot of, there's like so many great people out there, and they resemble nothing like them. Like, the longer they're there, the scummier they get, is what I think about these career politicians. That's just the truth. And I really hope that some of the earlier politicians take note of that and have like like some kind of a pathway to getting out of politics and still being a good leader in their communities. That's great. Even coming back, but come on, it's about uh, it's the dynamic of why this country is as fruitful, is as God fearing and and God vibrant, that we are should be capable of doing that and not being so sunk down, bogged in our ways. So it was really hard for me to explain to my kids is if God, I will love you the most. I can love you the most if you love God more than me. And if you and if you realize I love God more than you, because only God knows each person. That's like it's not supposed to be mind-boggling. Make it like a fact, like call it science. Call it science. You know what? I'm going to work on my hypothesis about that. But I'm pretty sure there's a lot of books out there that I've read a few books about scientists that write about faith and the belief of God. So I don't mind sharing that with you guys, and I'll put that out there soon. Um, yeah, it's called. It's a really good book. I probably have it up now. I mean, I definitely have it on my drive. So those things all help. Either way, is for the young voters again, is the only food you need, the only strength that you need is going to come from your creator, God, the one that created me. so so you have to deal with it, like me or not, say, yeah, and likewise, like me or not. Okay, like, it's God's plan. He put himself there. He wants to be the person in the middle, not Satan. On the other hand, wants us to be in the middle of each other and divide. Do you get it? So if you put it, and oh, trust me, oh, Satan will put you through a lot. If Satan feels threatened by you, it's gonna happen. I mean, trust me, like, I basically um what can happen inside is really no like, doesn't have to be impacted by some sort of reality. And when that happens, when it's I think, like, like, dirty people will call it like voodoo, like, dirty people will really really crawl up your skin and try and invade. And the problem with that and people like me is that I take responsibility for my actions. So, like, for me to say, oh, well, I only did this because you were, no, because that's what these dirty people that are scummy, basically rapists, like human traffickers. I just feel it's kind of hard to describe. It's possible that I'm receptive. It's possible that I can, like, maybe, and it's difficult at the same time. I'm conflicted because I don't want to put it on somebody else. It's just like whatever crossed my mind and adjusting it. I've always been a very smart and gifted person, always, like since I was. Oh, so there's no reason that at 32 I would have had to suffer, what I did, other than because my faith tells me is maybe have a breakdown, maybe do have a breakdown and, just let go and build it all up again. Um, there's going to be a lot of opportunity for, for Satan to come in those instances and try and steer you astray. So that was my main. It was just a lot. I don't know. I really, like, what I'm trying to say is so perverted and it's so perverse that I think that Satan wanted me to go, like, to the dark side and wants me to think that of other people and wants me to. And the truth is that people that are like that, and I think they're miserable. And I think that they live in their own misery and they want other people. So they want other people to join them in their misery because it gets lonely or whatever else it is. They're envious, they're jealous, they don't know how to get out of their rut. And so they want to force other people to think and be like them, and they it's like people that maybe I've analyzed my whole life, and I really can't tell you, I do not force myself, like, my thoughts on other people ever. In fact, I would rather my thoughts, if I thought that my analysis and the way that I thought was being kept secret. This is part of my crazy, I guess. I would probably I'd be rich by now because I would have patented and I would have gone out there and been a little bit more eccentric, original, and done all these things. And at the same time, I'm easy on myself. I had kids, and they have been my priority at this point. They're 23 and 20, 23 and 20. I keep saying 24 and 21, but that's because that's this year. Yeah, this year, my son, my first will be 24, and my daughter will be 21 in January, right after my son turns 24. So either way, okay. I mean, I definitely think, watch your company, obviously, because a lot of what you take in, again, if you're a receptive person and you're going to just, God, the forces that be. I mean, Jesus gave me a sword because I want to love God. I don't want to love evil. And that's what I'm going to do is I have to get the bad influences and spirits away from me, and I have to encourage God. And I have to allow for God to love me as much as he loves the next person in my life, including my kids and including everybody else. So that's what I think about that. So I do want to get more into being a little bit more, like, get into critical thinking, like for the young folk that aren't stupid. Um, because I think everybody knows that Kamala thinks that young people are stupid. She just came out on video over the weekend saying that you can't, like, you have, like now she's gonna go and talk about your identity crisis. I mean, what what's it called, that an imposter mentality, like imposter whatever it is, like, oh my God, everybody should be very protective of their identity. That's like No, like that is what drives me crazy. Like that's why I'm like, no, I'm me and you're you. You're the drug dealer girl that married a drug dealer, not me. Why should I? Because that's like stereotyping too. Like I maybe I just let things affect me, whatever. But anyhow, um, so yeah, you have to love yourself no matter what. I don't care. I mean, if anybody like is mean to you or whatever, they have issues, but you have to love your and if people want to bother you about you just because a lot of times like I was just very introspective and withdrawn. I just wanted to spend more time inside, like I want to know like okay, like why is everybody all crazy? Like why is everybody like wanting me to do the like so there's a lot of that. That's fine too. You're not stupid and you shouldn't let these fake 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 is well they're fake people. they're they're not um they are like the cool table people in high school that want to run every program in high school, and then they just grew up and want to continue doing that like at the national level, at the international level. It's embarrassing because everybody knows those people end up like no, not so good. Okay, like some might not. No, no, every please, like don't buy into this whole like oh because and the whole thing is like the C plus students and like the ones that are like really like trying to get deep into understanding life and what things are about, those are the people that are going to carry this life forward, not the superficial jocks and their little groupies. No, that's what they are. They're just doing that. This is what the Biden administration is doing, except they're also con artists. They're inviting drugs into our country, into this country. Make it your country. I don't care if you're paying taxes here and and you have a future here and you have plans here and you're not going to, try to destroy anything here. This is your country. So don't ever feel like these people are superior to you in any way. Nope. Nope. They're basically losers. They're basically that's what they are. Okay? So don't think of them as better than you. Um and when I say cuz everybody knows that young people are stupid is because you should look up everything that Kamala Harris has said. Okay? And that's why she wants to be your mama Kamala and pay all your school debt. Do you really want that? Do you really want like to be the person that is rescued by a loser? No, thank you. Like I got this. I can take care of myself. Thank you. And if that's all you can do is take care of yourself, then hey, that's all you need to do. Because I haven't been the perfect mother, and and my kids are starting to understand. Like, okay, but it really does start with also just taking care of me sometimes, and that's okay. That is what forms relationships, is you have to be there for yourself. So keep thinking about that. Okay, and keep always who you were inside. Seek God. um, bring that positive person out in you around other people all the time. Work at it. Don't let negative people get to you. Try and see things other people's way. Don't do something that the next day you're just going to be laughing about and everything's going to be understood. And you know what? Sometimes plain old walk away, because when there's just crazy makers in your life, they don't deserve to have you around, right? At least not for the time being. Send them a prayer. If they keep making the same mistake, hey, they're just digging themselves a hole. That's going to be their own struggle. So I'm going to leave everybody with that because I said so. And I think I just clicked on the stream, but oh, and